Hey there, this is Corey from Our Voice USA, and this video is a demonstration of our HelloVoterHQ now in beta. Be sure to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon to be alerted to future videos. HelloVoterHQ is a brand new web app that is a companion to our HelloVoter mobile app. You use HelloVoterHQ in a web browser, so let's just jump right in there. demo.ourvoiceusa.org. Here you can sign in with Google and Facebook. I'll sign in with my Google account. When you log in, you can see the dashboard. As you can see in our demo database, we have 132 million addresses, which is taking up a little over 200 gigabytes of space. These are real addresses, but the people in them is dummy data because it is just a demo. But we loaded this much into the database to demonstrate its capability to run a national campaign. With this many addresses with real people, your database size is going to be closer to a terabyte. Here we can see the volunteers who have already signed in and have been approved. The ones with the crown logo are admins of the system, and the green check means that they are ready to canvass. Here we have not created any teams yet, so let's do so. And let's say Team Salt Lake, because that's where I am. Navigating to the team screen, we can search for members by name, or we can search by location. So here I'll enter Salt Lake and add anyone in Salt Lake to this team. Then we assign a form and a turf. Looking at the turfs, I've already created a bunch, one for each state, and then one for each legislative district in Utah, which is why there are 115 in here. Let's look for one of the House districts. Here you can add a new turf. And you can do it by legislative boundary. You can import a GeoJSON shapefile. You can do an area surrounding an address, and you can manually draw one with your mouse. Here I'll show you what it's like to create a legislative boundary turf. Search for Utah or any state, and then whether the boundary is the state itself, a congressional district, a Senate district, or a state house district. Here you can see it loads the district numbers for that specific turf type, and you can create just one or you can create them all. Onto the forms. Here I've already created a get out the vote demo form, and here we can see that we've assigned Team Salt Lake to this form. You can also assign volunteers directly to a form without having to be on a team. Now diving into the map, we can see address pins from the data that I previously loaded. When you zoom out, you'll notice that the pins all cluster around an area because the UI only loads so many at a time. When you move the map, the location of the pins loading changes, so simply drag your mouse to change location of what pins are loaded. Zooming out, we can see the boundaries of all the turfs that I've created. The purpose, of course, is to limit the amount of data a single volunteer is able to see, and for the leadership in your campaign, you can assign larger turfs, such as the legislative districts or the entire state. The pins load in a kind of circle because they load within distance of the center of the point, and as we move the map around, the pins load in the new location. In areas where there aren't any addresses, it obviously won't load any pins, so you can see the addresses loading around this cemetery and these parks. On to looking at import data. Here you can see that the near 1,800 files that I've imported, all these files came from openaddresses.io, a free collection of physical addresses across the world. I imported the ones for the United States. Now these are real addresses. I just attached dummy data to them for the people. Each import has stats on how long it took. The import doesn't take very long by itself, but when you load 2,000 of them at once, they only process one at a time, so they can sit around waiting a while before they process. In the system queue, you can see any task that's scheduled in the system, when it started, how long it took, and data analytics, where you can select a turf to look at. Here, let's do Utah House District 24, and then select an attribute you want to run a report on, party affiliation, for example. Now this is dummy data, so this is not actually representative of that district, but of the data that I added to this system. And if you change the turf, you get the data from the people who live in that area, and the numbers will come out slightly differently. This dropdown at the top shows the status of an address based on what form is being used. And as you can see, nothing's changed when we got to this form because no data has been canvassed. So let's do some. Onto the mobile app, tap canvassing, and then connect to server. And now you can do this on your own phone. Enter demo.ourvoiceusa.org, and you can see addresses in your area with the dummy data loaded in and experience the tool for yourself. Log in with a social media account, either Facebook or Google. Currently, we have a bug where the first time you log in, it doesn't load the form. So simply tap Start a new canvassing activity again and connect to server and re-enter the demo.ourvoiceusa.org address. The second time, it'll let you in. This is a bug we're working on. We're still in beta. Please let us know if you see any other issues. On the demo server, it'll let you straight into the map without approval. On a normal campaign, you wouldn't see the map until that campaign has approved your access to the system and assigned you a turf. Here we see some pins in your area. Simply tap one to get the address and then tap it to see who lives there. Here we have Debbie Demo, and you can mark her as not home or not interested. Let's mark this one as not home. As you can see, the pin turns yellow. On to the next address, let's say that they are not interested, and the pin turns red. On the next one, if you swipe left, you can say whether or not they've moved. This person no longer lives here. On to the next address. Let's have them actually get canvassed. Tap their name. Here you can change stuff about the person. Here let's change their name from Demo to Darlene. But again, only do this if their name actually changed, like if they got remarried. If it's not that person, you should mark them as moved. So this person got married and is now Debbie Darling. And she's not a Democrat anymore. Perhaps she changed parties to Green. She's registered to vote, doesn't need a ride to go vote, and wants to receive phone notifications. So let's enter the phone number. Other items on this form: prefers not to say race and speaks English. These questions are whatever you want asked. These are just the ones on this demo form. Click Save to save the canvassing activity, and you see that Debbie has now named Debbie Darling and has a check mark because she is now canvassed. Canvassing another address. This Debbie Demo has no party affiliation. Let's say she's joined the Democratic Party since, is registered to vote, and does need a ride to go vote. They want email notifications, so let's enter an email address, debbie@demo.com. Not a real email address. U.S. military veteran. Save, and now we can see that data. Canvassing a few more. Not home, and not interested. Real quick, if we back out of the form and re-enter it, you'll notice that the red and green pins are no longer there because they don't need to be canvassed. Back to HQ, let's hit refresh. Now we can see that those pins color have changed to reflect that they've been canvassed. Tapping on this one, we can see Debbie Darling is now in the Green Party, and that here that the Debbie Demo there is now a Democrat. If we deselect the form status, we can see that we're just seeing the data. And the purpose of this is so that you can have different campaigns running different forms, but with the same data set. People only see data for a form they belong to. Back to the mobile app, you can see the turf that this individual is in, which is set to 1 kilometer radius around where they are. Let's move them, changing their location to the southeast, center the map. You can see that the pins around their location loaded. Let's change the location further southeast, outside of the turf. Center the map. Now we're far outside of the turf, and we don't see any pins loaded, unless we zoom out and take a look at the turf. And here we can see pins on the edge loaded, because it wants to load up to 25 pins nearest to where you are, but within the turf. Now let's make this user an admin. Logging into the database backs HelloVoterHQ, going to run a query to make that user an admin. Back to the mobile app, going into the form as now an admin, you can see that not only can you see more pins loaded around you, but you can see the red and the green pins loaded. So as an admin, you can keep track of the status of things, whereas regular canvassers don't need to see addresses that have already been canvassed or not interested. Now, I encourage you to download the HelloVoter app yourself and enter demo.ourvoiceusa.org as the server and try it for yourself. Thank you and have a good day. Just looking around the database, let's return that canvasser that we shown and double tap to see data that's related. All the red circles are visits and the blue ones are the devices that user has used. As you can see, all other canvassing has been done from one of those devices. From one of those visits, we can see the form and we can see the address. Double tap the address and we can see the turfs they belong to, and we can see the person who lives there. From there, we can see attributes about that person, where those attributes came from, and how the attributes came from the same place, another person. And further down the rabbit hole we go.